Hello, welcome to another episode of Finishing Touch. My name is Riley James. This is a podcast via the State Soccer Network. You can check out State Soccer Network at statesoccernetwork.com. And now we have a mobile app you can download. Today's show is sponsored by Steezy. From comfort to function, Steezy thought of it all with their brand new React No-Show and Adapt Essential Crew. Steezy, the athletic sock for you. Keep moving forward. Today on the show, we have head coach of North Texas Soccer Club, an 8-year MLSer, and most importantly, a Clemson Tiger, Eric Quill. Thank you so much for doing the show, man.
Thanks for having me, Riley. My pleasure.
Obviously, you've been in Texas for a long time. You're from Missouri City. Can you talk about the value of soccer in Texas, not only with what you do in USL, but just growing up and being part of the developmental programs?
Yeah, size of Texas is huge, right? So the cities of San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Houston provide a lot of density with soccer talent. So with that density comes a lot of different soccer clubs. So you have a lot of different opponents on the weekend, and it's that just when you're getting great games against great opponents and the density of talent is vast, it expedites development, and that's why these cities are great soccer cities, and we value the youth programs of every city, and it's just it's why you see so many players come out of the state of Texas.
So obviously it's been a while since you've gone through the whole process of being recruited by a college and then making your way to Major League Soccer. But there's still some value in that. So getting recruited by Clemson to go play, what was that process like? And what did you do as a player to get ready for the next level?
Yeah, well, the college from back when I was coming out of high school was really the professional next step, if you will, because there wasn't MLS yet. Now it came quickly thereafter I went when MLS came about in '96. But really, all kids my age and growing up were aspiring to get scholarships to college as being the sort of the apex next step of leaving the youth game. So ACC, just like it is today, was considered arguably the best conference in the country for soccer. And my club coach that I grew up playing for was a former Clemson soccer player, and so I had sort of this relationship with him that I kind of followed Clemson through him, and had my eyes, or not my eyes, but I was pretty pre-educated throughout my youth about the program of Clemson, and so they had a lot of success. And so when I started getting recruited by a number of schools, Clemson was always high on my priority list, and just so happened I was blessed to get a scholarship, and I made that jump, and it was a great experience going to Clemson.
Now, you've gone from playing professional soccer to now coaching professional soccer. What experiences have you taken away from your career in MLS and beyond to coaching in USL?
I think a lot of just everything, just from player interaction and how a locker room functions from a player side, playing for different coaches with different philosophies, different managerial types. I tried to soak it all in and become the best version of myself as a coach. I think that's what most people try to do in the coaching profession, is you try to extrapolate whatever you can from mentors and people that made impacts in your life along the way. So that's just kind of, I think I'm a smorgasbord of all of the many great coaches and players that I had the privilege to play with and play for. So yeah, I love the profession, and I love being able to give back.
Like I said, you played Major League Soccer. You're obviously affiliated with FC Dallas, being at North Texas. Major League Soccer's gone through some great changes over the last couple of years. Ever since I've been in the league, it's been changing. 2015 when I started covering this league, and from then, until now, we're introducing team number 30 next year. From the time that you played, obviously in a very different era, to now seeing kind of how FC Dallas does their things, what has been the difference? And would you say it's an improved pathway for players nowadays versus when you were trying to come up?
100%. I think the league, obviously, with the resources and money behind it, and TV and exposure is changed quite a bit for the better. Obviously, I think the youth landscape and the organizational structure and what U.S. Soccer was to be able to provide with the DA and now MLS taking over MLS Next, and just providing an ECNL and all these great leagues that are that are giving these kids competitive games and competitive venue tournaments and stuff to play in. That and then the scouting piece. I think there's more scouting than there ever was, and obviously the virtual world we live in, we have access to pretty much any game around the country that happens on the youth side. So I just think the resources are vast and well, very, very good to have. So it allows us to sort of not miss players or not to say that players still don't slip through the cracks, but I think we have our eyes on a lot more around the country and around the world. But the MLS and the league itself has grown, and you see the popularity, and you see the caliber of player that's playing in MLS now, and it's a super dynamic league. It's gotten a lot younger since I started in the league, which is a great thing. And so it's going in the right direction. Obviously, when you're around since 20 plus years, and when people thought originally that it almost had its days where it wasn't going to make it in 2000, to see where it is today is a proud feeling as a former player and a guy that wanted to see the game grow and stay around here, for young kids to be able to identify with professional players and grow up and want to be like them and have a league to play in. So I'm really, really happy that I was a part of the guinea pig process of getting this league off the ground.
I think it's done pretty well. Like you mentioned, going to 32 teams in the next couple of years, which is insane considering, like you said, it almost died in 2000 and 2001. So to be able to be here is incredible, and talk to guys like you who are a product of that. To the next generation of American players, the guys that you are possibly going to have play for USL squads all around the country, or maybe even MLS squads all around the country. Those guys coming out of college, those guys going through youth academies, what is your advice to them as far as, again, making that next leap to the next level?
Well, you have to be very ambitious. You have to really know who you are and know where you want to go. But also you have to be patient with the process and not be paying too much attention to what others' pathway and speed of process is. I think too often parents and players get carried away with what this person gets or what that person, he's in the youth national team at age 14, but then nowhere to be found by U20. And I think people want to push the process faster than what it needs to go. And every player is different. That's what I've realized in the coaching world. I've coached some players that were, smaller type players that were just early, late developers. I've coached early developers who get, patience in the process. But with that patience, you always have to have ambition. You always have to have a work ethic behind you. You have to work extremely hard when nobody's watching. That's how the 1%ers make it. It's not just what you do at training. It's when you're home and when you're on your own, and what are you doing to make yourself better as a player. And those 1%ers are the guys that always are thinking about ways in which they can get better. They're working. They're not just thinking of it. They're working at ways to get better. So and that's part of the ambitious side. When you're ambitious, you really work hard at something that you love, and that's what I would give my advice to players: is when you love something and you want to be ambitious at it, and you want to make a job out of it. It's not something that's ever going to be given to you. You got to have consistency to your work ethic and belief in yourself, and then stay strong in your convictions and persevere as you get older. The mountain gets more narrow, and you're playing with the top players, and you have to, how do you separate yourself? And a lot of it's your mentality. What are you willing to do that the next guy next to you is not? So it's a hard place to go as you get older, but it's one that's super rewarding when you love what you do.
We talk about that all the time, going home and doing things on your own. Now, I know it's pretty particular per player and kind of specifics based on what they need help with, but what is one thing that almost everyone can do at home to better themselves?
Well, the easiest thing is to watch games, watch professional games. Everybody pretty much has a TV these days. You have the game as is worldwide now, multiple you streaming on regular television. So the more you study, the more you watch the game. That's the easiest way to educate yourself on the little nuances of the game that you need to have at the highest level. But you have to watch the game in with full concentration. I mean, just watching a game and watching the ball move around the field, that's one thing. But when you watch what goes on off the ball in different parts of the field as much as you can, and really study the movements and what makes guys successful, and that's when you study at a higher level. But then, obviously taking care of your stuff at home and making sure you're got a lot of touches and always being around the ball, making sure your technique and things, the variety of ways in which you can manipulate a soccer ball, that's done a lot of it on your own, just through repetition type work at the house or in your local parks with your buddies. Just being a soccer junkie, so to speak.
And obviously, there's so many people to watch now that are Americans overseas, and you have your Christian Pulistics and Tyler Adams, Weston McKinney's, and so many players that have gone over there and been successful, including some out of the FC Dallas Academy. Now, you being so closely tied in with them, are there some people in Europe specifically, maybe not even just Americans, but just some players that play for big clubs or even maybe some smaller clubs in Europe that you tell you guys to point out, or is it just watch games and see what you can learn?
Yeah, we do a little bit of, if we have a similar profile to a guy that we feel is in our academy that's out there that, he can really identify with, that's an American player over there, we'll suggest that he watch clips or we can cut clips up. But, these kids are more connected to the virtual world than myself and than guys of my generation will ever be. Right. So they know these guys are constantly on their phones watching soccer, at least the players that I'm around on a daily basis. I mean, it's these players are well aware of everybody playing in the professional world, whether it be American or abroad, and they're being well educated in the game of soccer at their fingertips. So, but yeah, there's certain players that you come across that really strike a chord that say, oh, this guy plays a lot like this player in this profile. Take a look at him. Here's why he's made it. Here's the areas at which you can improve to be similar. So yeah, I think it's human nature to compare when you have that, those two similar type profiles.
Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate your time. We thank you so much for being here. One last thing, and we'll let you go. I looked over your MLS career. Obviously, you played for, I have it as 4 different teams in Major League Soccer, and those teams either have readapted or don't exist anymore. So I was just wondering, how does that make you feel as far as just how much the league has changed and overall just watching these teams kind of make their own moves?
I don't look at Tampa Bay and Miami were extracted based on that was part of is the league gonna make it? They had to downsize to make sure that the finances were right amongst 3 or 4 heavy investors, which thank God they did. And then we all got dispersed out to teams of, I went to Kansas City, and I had great experiences in Kansas City, here in Dallas, in New York. I think a lot of players are, everybody's different, right? I got to play for 4 different coaches, or actually multiple coaches in that, which allows me now as a coach, I got to take away from a lot of different coaches versus if I only play for one team or for one coach, maybe my versatility as a coach isn't the same. I don't know, but I'll say this, that I'm just glad and proud to see the league be where it is, especially now coming through COVID and all these tough financial situations where players and staff and organizations have to take pay cuts. But it shows that the league is strong, that we're back and we have a solid foundation, which is going to be great for my kids if they happen to be soccer players and others that are growing up with the game here in America. So I think that the league is healthy and going in the right direction, and I'm just proud to be in the industry and be a part of it.
Well, I certainly appreciate what you guys did during those early days of Major League Soccer to have what we have now and to have USL and to have all these different divisions of professional soccer in America. But if there's one thing I want to bring back, it's those Kansas City Wiz jerseys. Those were quite incredible. Nevertheless, Coach, thank you so much for the time, and good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, Riley.
Hi, thank you so much for watching the show. We really do appreciate it here at the State Soccer Network. We also have some socials for you to check out: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at State Soccer Network. And at the State Soccer Network, we also have a website, statesoccernetwork.com, as you can see right there. It's available in the show description with a direct link to find out how to sign up your local high school soccer team and contests and events to win prizes. We also have an iOS app available in the App Store. And remember, the State Soccer Network, a place where you can become the next great American talent.